There you go. Rush Limbaugh was a radio host for years. How's everyone? I had to go for the alternative, right? Sometimes you have technical difficulties. My headphones that I usually use stop working all of a sudden. So let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. This is a Wikipedia page. Rush Limbaugh was a radio host for years. How's everyone? I had to go for the alternative, right? Sometimes you have technical difficulties. My headphones that I usually use stop working all of a sudden. So let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. This is a Wikipedia page. Rush Limbaugh was a radio host for years. How's everyone? I had to go for the alternative, right? Sometimes you have technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. So let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. This is a Wikipedia page. Rush Limbaugh was a radio host. So they compare Rush Limbaugh to Hasan Piker, right? All the time. Give me 1 second. So they compare Rush Limbaugh to Sam Piker, right? All the time. So they compare Rush Limbaugh to Sam Piker, right? All the time. Okay, so now I got it. Sorry everyone for the delay. Thank you for joining me. So we're gonna go get right into the show. I had some audio issues, and but I appreciate you for joining me. A lot of people are watching Hassan Piker right now. He's trending on Twitter, trending on Facebook, trending at a lot of channels, right? So let's watch Rush Limbaugh. Let's read some of the stuff that he said. For his grandfather and politician, Rush Limbaugh III, February 10th, was an American conservative political commentator who was the host of the Rush Limbaugh Show, which first aired in 1984 and was nationally syndicated on AM and FM radio stations from 1988 until his death in 2021. Limbaugh became one of the most prominent conservative voices in the United States during the 1990s and hosted a national television show from 1992 to 1996. He was amongst the most highly paid figures in American radio history. In 2018, Ford listed his earnings at 84.5 million. In December 2019, Talker magazine estimated that Limbaugh's show attracted a cumulative weekly audience of 15.5 million listeners to become the most listened to radio show in the United States. But now we have podcasts, right? And there's a lot more competition than there used to be, right? There's a lot more competition. Now the competition has changed, right? Yeah. So you can look him up, Rush Limbaugh. He was famous. He was the voice of the right. They gave him credit for helping a lot of right wing establish itself, including Fox News, and all these other channels to become the right wing commentary, right? And the fairness doctrine, which you had to show both sides of an opinion. You couldn't just have a lopsided opinion. Was they got rid of it? Ronald Reagan got rid of it. So my name is Celso Garcia. Double tap on the screen, like the live, share the live. I'm imperfect. I admit it. I'm very imperfect. I'm starting out this journey. So right now, Hasan Piker has been in big trouble because of its opinions. Yeah, so I'm starting out this journey in live streaming. So bear with me. Um, I'm not always gonna do the best thing. I'll try, right? So let's watch some of the takes of Hasan Piker. Then we'll watch some of the takes of Rush Limbaugh, and then we'll compare the two and say, hey, according to my recollection, my memory, I was a young man when I was listening, and I got to hear Rush Limbaugh, and I most of the time I did not agree with him, but I knew that he was an influential voice at the time, so but I respected that. So this is when it started to take off, right? The whole podcasting was starting out.
Bring that name if you haven't. He's an up Charlie. Let me just tell you. I don't want to jinx him, but I'm just going to tell you. They brought Charlie Kirk to the golf course to meet me about a month ago. He was in town to set up this turning point thing, and they brought him to the golf course to meet me. It was during we were getting ready for a 8:45 a.m. start. And they brought him out while I was getting ready to go to the range to loosen up. And I spoke with him for about a half hour. And he told me how he grew up in a home where my program was on all the time. He was just effusively complimentary to me, which I, of course, understood and told him he's very wise. His family's very wise. He chuckled. He laughed. This is the kind of guy that you can see really becoming big in politics as he gets older. He just has the carriage, the personality, the charisma. You may think this sounds weird, but I remember when Bill Clinton became president, there were all of these stories about Bill Clinton at Oxford and Bill Clinton at Yale and Bill Clinton here and all these people who went to school with him. There was story after story after story where people were saying that they just knew Bill Clinton was going to be president someday. In college, he just had that kind of ambition, and he impressed people in a way that he could. I'm telling you that people are saying the same things about Charlie Kirk.
So this is just a reality. Um, or was it because he was connected to certain people and they catapulted him up? Sometimes I don't know what to believe, but this is, Rush Limbaugh, some of him, and then let me play a little bit of Hasan Piker, right? And you'll see his influence on the left. And hit the like button. Hit the like button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and Substack. Thank you so much. This People are gonna kill me for making this comparison, right? But I gotta make the comparison because it's similar. I think that he has a chance to dominate the airwaves and dominate the internet. And the internet wasn't that big at that time, but he dominated the radio, right? So Hassan Piker has a chance to dominate a whole generation of that he captured the minds of a lot of people, right? So and he was controversial. He was controversial, but he was like that's the way he was, outlandish, said some crazy stuff, but he was respected by a lot of politicians. And this is what Al Sharpton thought of him. And this was his controversy. But the thing is, the only thing I could say is that Hassan Piker is not as controversial as Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh at the time was way ahead of his time and said a lot of crazy stuff that got a lot of people upset, right? He said a lot of stuff that were considered racist, were considered out of tune with his time, but he was in every inner circle of every political stake, right? Just like Hassan Piker is. And they let him get away with a lot, right? They let him get away with way more than they let Hassan Piker get away with, right? They let him get away with way more, right? They let him get away with way more. They let Rush Limbaugh get away with way more than they have allowed Hassan Piker to get away with, right? They give him a harder time. So I'm just playing the right wing people, how they feel about him.
While we're on the topic of truth, I thought this was the perfect way to sum this up. Here was just a quick reminder. You know, yesterday was 5 years. Speaking of truth, advocates for conservatism, timeless advocates. Yesterday, February 17, 2021, 5 years ago, we lost the legend, Rush Limbaugh. While we're on the topic of truth, I thought this was the perfect way to sum this up. Here was just a quick reminder of President Trump acknowledging the greatness of one Rush Limbaugh before he passed. Check this out.
Almost every American family knows the pain when a loved one is diagnosed with a serious illness. Here tonight is a special man, beloved by millions of Americans, who just received a...
So he was considered the legend of the right, right?
When Rush Limbaugh was honored.
And that was another disgraceful moment. Look, Rush Limbaugh and...
Congressman, were you surprised as well that when Rush Limbaugh was honored, here's a man dying potentially of cancer, at least battling it. He's in the fight of his life. I get that Speaker Pelosi and other Democrats disagree with him politically, but you didn't see the Speaker standing when Rush Limbaugh was honored.
And that was another disgraceful moment. Look, Rush Limbaugh inspired millions of people, still does to this day. I surely was inspired. I listened to him when I was a student at LSU, just learning about politics and government. Rush was on the radio, and he still does that today, speaking truth to power, on both sides, by the way. And so the fact that President Trump celebrated him, not just for what he's done on radio, but in his battle against cancer. Rush is a tough guy. I hope he beats cancer, but everybody should have stood for that. And it shows, I think it makes them look little as a party when they don't do that. But the rest of the country, again, there are Democrats all across the country going, that's not where I am. Whether they agree or disagree with the president, if you can't stand up and celebrate what's great about this country, people who are battling for their lives, men.
So he was honored and they welcomed him no matter how bad or how controversial his topics were or his conversations. The only difference is that no one has embraced Hasan Piker in the left because of his point of views, his perspectives. He hasn't received a Presidential Medal of Honor because he's a pain in the butt in a lot of people's world, right?
You mean to me that last call and my ongoing attempts to thank everybody in the audience, all of you, for everything you mean to me. That last call, that's reminds me how much I love all of you, how much I so appreciate everything you've meant to me and my family. You don't have any idea how. I know so many people think this program has changed their lives for the better. You have no idea what you all have meant to me and my family. The day is going to come, folks, where I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't know when that is.
So these are the sad moments, right? But let me play a little bit of Hasan Piker, so people won't say I'm lopsided, right? I'm gonna give both sides play, right? Play both sides. To all his haters, right? He said to all his haters, that's how he feels about them. And
wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the f***ing head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something? If you
doesn't he remind you of? Does he remind you of Rush Limbaugh?
That's right. That we can have nice things, but we can't do it alone. But the only way to do it is to do it together.
It is my great honor to be standing alongside incredible candidates and incredible politicians like Abdul El-Sayed.
We've got an opportunity to change the face of American politics, and we will not back down.
In the wealthiest nation on earth, or whether you are in Detroit or Lansing or Ann Arbor or Pittsburgh or Philly, that we deserve clean air and clean water. Every single person here should be able to go to a doctor. We deserve to live in a country that says that we should have a home. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed not only understands we have a right to breathe clean air, he is going to move with the urgency that is needed.
We are strong when we are united.
When they tell us that we cannot stand up and abolish ICE, we don't back down. When they tell us that we cannot believe in a future that is bigger than the present we have, we don't back down.
So you see that, right? Interesting take on how they influence the politics, right? And Hasan Piker is taking on more of a role of influencer, of getting involved in, picking um, candidates criticizing Democratic leadership, criticizing the president, the administration.
Well, it's about his audience. He's reaching hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. It's like saying, would you want to go on Joe Rogan? Would you want to go on Tucker Carlson?
Do you think it's the same as Joe Rogan?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them, right? Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, all have raised concerns about this issue that Hasan Piker has raised, right? Piker.
Do you think Democrats need to go on Piker's show, be seen with him in order to win a primary?
Well, it's about his audience. He's reaching hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. It's like saying, would you want to go on Joe Rogan? Would you want to go on Tucker Carlson?
Do you think it's the same as Joe Rogan?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them, right? Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, all have raised concerns about this issue that Hasan Piker has raised, right? The Israel lobby. That is the issue. That is the concern. Oh, we can't talk about that in modern day politics, and then we have to smear him and suggest that he's controversial. We can't talk about it. And if you look online, Dana, all of these podcasters, all these influencers are just wanting to have a conversation that is not allowed to be had in politics because we're trying to cancel the conversation from allowing to be taken place, and we're mischaracterizing anybody who speaks out and saying, oh, we can't talk about you, you're too controversial, and yet they're growing huge and huger audiences online.
Colin, let me just read to you from the Associated Press. How big of a tent do Democrats want? Michigan Senate primary is testing the limits. Some have pitched him as a gateway to young people, particularly young men, who have drifted in the right in recent years. Others fear he is a sign of the party beholden to extremes, pointing to inflammatory rhetoric like Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel, describing Orthodox Jews as inbred, and that America deserved 9/11. And this doesn't include the things, let's set aside Israel for a second. The things he says about women, for example. This doesn't include the things.
Yikes. Take extreme views like that into a battleground state. It might win you a primary, but it's a really good way to lose a general election. And let's not forget, Dana, we're not arguing in a Democratic presidential primary where these kind of views are probably commonplace. We're talking about a state like Michigan that went for Donald Trump twice by a larger margin in 2024 than 2016. So look, Republicans have learned this lesson the hard way in years past, most notably 2010. You put extreme candidates in battleground states, it's a great way to lose a lot of elections. Extreme candidates in battleground states, it's a great way to lose a lot of elections. You put extreme candidates in battleground states, it's a great way to lose a lot of elections.
So you watch this, you see this, you hear this, everyone? You hear this, everyone? Crazy, right? The way they speak about Hasan Piker. Crazy, right? The way they speak about Hasan Piker. Okay. The way they speak about Hasan Piker. I'm trying to adjust the audio. Every other day I have audio issues. So let's see if I can fix it, the audio issues. So, I mean, he's a good guy. He's fighting for the right reasons, for the right things. And they're maligning him. He's not getting a presidential Medal of Honor. He's just being straight up attacked, right? The only difference, right? He's not being invited in to the White House. Maybe one day that will change, right? If we have a AOC or somebody that he really supports. Let's see. And Rush Limbaugh said a lot worse things. And Rush Limbaugh said a lot worse things. Things that were considered crazy, right? AOC's, Rush Limbaugh said a lot crazier stuff than Hasan Piker. But they still at Hasan Piker, right? As
I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. It's going to be an entire week. I mean, geez, guys, I'm going to have so much free time. Well, I guess I could start by making this video, right? So, I got suspended last night on Twitch. I end my stream, and I come back from the gas station, and I get a message, and somebody says, why can't I chat in your stream? And I'm like, well, I don't know what happened. And I look, and I get a message, and it says that my account has been suspended for 7 days because of hateful conduct. So, this is what I did. This is what I said. I said that I didn't give a fuck about the opinions of third worlders, and then particularly in the thing that they referenced, I was referring to illiterate goat herders from Afghanistan.
Again, the way this looks out in the public is not a United States.
The opinions of third worlders don't matter. Like, I don't care what some illiterate goat herder thinks in Afghanistan. It doesn't matter.
In the context
crazy. So these are the people that influence the whole. Let me go back to Rush Limbaugh, right? Let's watch Let's go back to X, and let me look at some videos of Rush Limbaugh, right? And a lot of people say they didn't know who Hasan Piker until they started attacking him all over the media, on all the news channels, on every news channel, right? They just started to attack him big time, right? They're making Hasan Piker more popular, right? They're just making Hasan Piker even more popular. So let's watch this. And he was influential in getting across the board. A lot of people respected him. And
when you look at the environment, I'm very important. I love the environment. The environment. I want clean air. I want clean water. I want, And by the
You
way,
shouldn't even have to say that. You shouldn't have to say everybody wants clean water. The fact that they're out there claiming you want dirty water and dirty, you shouldn't even have to say you like clean water.
Yeah,
That's
it's
outrageous.
Like the forest fires in California. If we had forest management, you wouldn't have any forest fires. In Europe, you go there, they have forest nations. They call them Austria, different places. They don't have the woods burning down, and their trees are more explosive than ours, meaning explosive from potential fire. They have trees, and they have, they maintain their forests, and they put cuts in between. So if they have a fire, it doesn't burn down 500,000 acres. They do it properly. Our people don't do that. And then we talk about, they want our air clean, but they don't talk about China, Russia, India, these other countries where the pollution is massive going up. So we have a clean spot on a massive planet. We have a clean spot, which is a small percentage of the planet. A very small percentage of the planet. And then China's
they help. This is the person that helped galvanize Donald Trump and the conservative movement to where they are because of Rush Limbaugh. So that's why I'm comparing him to but do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and Substack. Right? So you look at this. All the people watching. If you don't know who Rush Limbaugh was, the young people that know who people like Hasan Piker are probably don't know who Rush Limbaugh is, right? The founder of the conservative radio movement. He was influential in getting Donald Trump elected. He was influential in getting a lot of conservatives elected. He was galvanized by Ronald Reagan and was in radio for a long time, right? So, and I call this guy Sahid.
I don't pay taxes, so another country gets a tank or a bomb. I pay my taxes, so our kids get schools and health care. Because I don't know about you. I don't spend my tax dollars. I'm about to pay taxes. I don't pay taxes, so another country gets a tank or a bomb. I pay my taxes, so our kids get schools and health care. Because I don't know about you. I don't spend my tax dollars. I'm about to pay tax.
This is a guy that Hasan Piker is supporting. So you knew that once Rush Limbaugh endorsed you, you had a high chance of getting reelected, right? When you knew you and with
Understands we have a right to breathe clean air. He is going to move with the urgency that is needed.
We are strong when we are united.
When they tell us that we cannot stand up and abolish ICE, we don't back down. When they tell us that we cannot believe in a future that is bigger than the present we have, we don't back down.
whatever you want to call it.
That we can have nice things, but we can't do it alone. But the only way to do it is to do it together.
It is my great honor to be standing alongside incredible candidates and incredible politicians like Abdul Sayed.
We've got an opportunity to change the face of American politics, and we will not back down.
In the wealthiest nation on earth, or whether you are in Detroit or Lansing or Ann Arbor or Pittsburgh or Philly, that we deserve clean air and clean water. Every single person here should be able to go to a doctor. We deserve to live in a country that says that we should have a home. Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed not only understands we have a right to breathe clean air, he is going to move with the urgency that is needed.
We are strong when united.
When they tell us that we cannot stand up and abolish ICE, we don't back down. When they tell us that we cannot believe in a future that is bigger than the present we have, we don't back down.
And I think Trump is the culmination of all of that, because I describe a scene where Trump has Limbaugh at Mar-a-Lago right after the election in 2016, and Limbaugh gives him what ends up being the advice that dictates how he governs for the rest of his presidency. And that's never, ever cut deals with Democrats. Don't go to the middle, which of course has been the prevailing political science theory for as long as I've been alive. You politicians run to the...
For both sides.
Yeah. How
you get things done is how you govern.
That's where the country is.
Right.
But what Trump did was, Limbaugh said, don't ever cut deals with Democrats. They will always hate you and they will always screw you. And that, I think, speaks to what is one of the core elements of Trumpism, is it's not just about what you do and who you are, it's about who hates you.
Never quit, never give up, never cave in to anyone, right? Never cave in to anyone and never cut any deals. I mean, he caved in with Iran, right? A lot of people are accusing him of caving in with Iran. But Rush Limbaugh, no one ever disavowed him. No one said they wouldn't go on his program. No one ever said that that they would stop speaking to him. No one ever said that they wouldn't go on his show. You had to go on his show in order to be considered a serious contender in the Republican Party, right? And once he endorsed you, you know that the conservative wing of the party was going to follow suit and going to do the same thing, right? The conservatives were also going to respect that, and you're going to get a lot of donations, and you knew that there was a lot of money on its way, right? There was going to be a lot of money on its way to assist you, right? Like it helped Donald Trump a lot, right? It helped Donald Trump to become popular and become famous, even though he wasn't, right? So do you think, in your honest opinion, you think Hasan Piker has that influence over the Democratic Party? You think he will be able to influence Democrats to move to the left? Because Democrats have been very resistant to go to the left. Hasan Piker says the same thing, that the Democrats should move to the left and be unapologetic and refuse to cave to Republicans and refuse to do deals with Republicans, but just do what is in the best interest of of the people, right? Take big money out of politics. Take big money and interests out of politics, right? And everything will work out, right? Everything will work out. Right? Everything will work out once you, right? Once you do everything, then everything will work out. Okay, so just acting up a little bit, like always. So, do you think we have one person that can control the whole voice of the people, that could actually influence the whole process, like Rush Limbaugh was able to influence the right at a certain time, right? He was able to influence the whole right movement of the United States. He was able to influence the radio. And now it's not the radio. Now it's podcasters, right? Now it's podcasters. Now it's people like that are able to influence the whole process and are able to decide who people vote for. Or is there anyone that's that influential in the right? Is there anyone that's that influential on the right or on the left? A lot of people say Donald Trump took over that position, and it's unapologetic, refuses to compromise, and refuses to speak down or apologize even when he makes a mistake, right? That's what he taught him, right? Right? So you tell me, he helped create Donald Trump, right? He create right? Remember this? This was a few years ago.
The great Mark Levin. We have a lot of great people. Lou Dobbs. Great people. You know what they said? Every one of them. Plus many others. There's no other man that we've ever met that could have taken it. It's true. Maybe I'm a little different up here. I don't know. But I enjoy it. To me, I'm energized because we're draining the swamp.
Remember that, right?
The Democrats' brazen attempt to overthrow our government will produce a backlash at the ballot box, the likes of which they have never, ever seen before in the history of this country.
And this is the early Trump, unapologetic, refusing to back down, not making no deals. And he seems to be the same way, right? He's the same way now, right? He's the same way. He doesn't back down. He doesn't allow anyone to tell him anything or try to convince him to do anything any other way than his way, right? And so the left needs to do the same thing in this country. The Democrats need to do the same thing. Refuse to back down, hold to their morals, not take big money. But the thing is that he has also protected a lot of grifters and a lot of people making money off of the system. So a lot of people are saying that he has lost his way, right? He has lost his way. So is it possible to say that one person can control the narrative, the political narrative of millions of people, right? Everyone, thank you for coming on to the show. Hit the like on Facebook. Hit the follow on YouTube. Hit the Twitch, subscribe. X, subscribe. TikTok. Substack. On every channel I have, subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. A lot of younger people don't know who Rush Limbaugh is, right? A lot of young people don't know who Rush Limbaugh is, right? And so I'm reintroducing some political figures to people, right? I'm reintroducing some political figures to people that a lot of people maybe have not heard of in the past, that catapulted such people as Donald Trump onto the stage, right? And you know, politics ages you, right? That was Trump before, and now look at him. He's aged a lot, right? So this is the latest news. They're saying that being unapologetic is crazy, right? So now they're accusing J.D. Vance of A top Vatican diplomat was summoned to the Pentagon for a bitter lecture, demanding that the Pope get behind Donald Trump. It has emerged. Vatican officials briefed on the meeting told the Free Press that one of the Pentagon's most senior officials summoned Cardinal Christophe Pierre to meet in January, then told him that the United States has the military power to do whatever it wants, and that Pope Leo, the first American-born pontiff, better take its side. Right? So they pushed and try to push the Pope and try to tell him that he better take their side. And so now they're saying that the White House tried to bully the Pope into submission and try to send him a message that the American military is powerful and can wipe anyone out. And so the Pope should join and agree to join the United States in supporting the war in Iran, right? They didn't like the criticism that the Pope was leveling against what he was saying, right? Oh man, look at this. Hasan Piker was sleeping on an airplane and he has a Democratic Socialist of America hat. The thing is, Hasan Piker, everyone knows that he's with the Democratic Socialists of America. Zoran Mandani, a lot of influential people, AOC, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, me, myself, and I sympathize and agree with the Democratic Socialists of America platform because we got to stop being apologetic on the left, right? We got to stop apologizing. We got to be like Rush Limbaugh told Donald Trump, stop apologizing for your values. Don't cave and give in to your values, right? Peace, harmony, and humanity. Love for others. Don't cave for nobody. And this is what all they got to do, right? All they got to do is take pictures of the person sleeping, right? Right? He's tired. He's been streaming. Come on. Come on, people. It's just bizarre, right? And so all they got against him is sound clips. He talks for 10 hours a day. He talks for 10 hours a day. He's bound to make gaffes. He's bound to say things that might not be so popular. Just like Rush Limbaugh said so many things that were very unpopular, right? He said a lot of things that were very unpopular, but people still supported him. It doesn't matter if effing apes happened in October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me. The Palestinian resistance is not perfect. And he was pretty much taken out of context. They just took one little piece of an 8-hour stream of a 10-hour stream, and they just pushed them to the corner. So thank you for joining me. There's more than 10 people on X. Keep joining me. Hit the like button, hit the share button. You want to see more Rush Limbaugh? Who you want to see more? Hasan Piker? You want to see more of the Pope? I mean, people say the Pope is socialist, right? that he's saying a lot of socialist things, right? What do you think? Now they're gonna say that the Pope is socialist? Impossible, right? Because these are just the things they do to malign people and to attack people. And then they don't, the similar behavior, and guess what? Rush Limbaugh gets the Presidential Medal of Honor, right? He gets the Presidential Medal of Honor instead of getting attacked or being told, right, anything bad, right? Or being criticized, or anyone distancing themselves from him, right? They got closer to him, no matter how controversial he was, right? So what do they have?
A new U.S. energy platform is evolving. This is your chance to invest early. Frontieras is building a U.S.-based platform that converts abundant domestic coal into multiple fuels.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. I very seldom accept awards because I'm never offered any. It's the plight of being conservative in the media. This is truly, it is truly an honor. Charlie asked me a number of weeks ago, and it's really close to the Christmas season. I wasn't sure I was going to be in town tonight, so I couldn't tell him. And he kept holding it open, and I'm really can't tell you how honored I am to be here and to accept this and to be recognized. I'm just a guy on the radio. When I started this 30 years ago, I never envisioned any of this happening. What I wanted to become was the best radio guy in the country, defined by the largest audience. Radio was my business. I loved it. I believe in it. And I just wanted to be the best at that. And I had this great opportunity. I could be me. I could be honest. I could talk about whatever I wanted to talk about, and there was nobody that could tell me I couldn't. And so all of this happens. None of it was planned. None of it was architected. It just happened. And the fact that it's been constantly supported by so many millions of people, I can't tell you how gratifying that it is. And it is still the happiest 3 hours of my life, that radio show every day, and prepping for it, and having the opportunity to tell people what's right, have the opportunity to tell people what's wrong, have the opportunity to stand up for what you believe in front of 30 million people, have the opportunity to persuade them. It is a golden opportunity, and I take it seriously, but it's much different today than when I started. Things evolve, and hopefully you change, and you adapt, and you stay current with the times. But when I first started out, I was trying to be funny and irreverent and sarcastic, and I was. And a couple of things happened early on that taught me something that, see, I was a DJ for 16 years and didn't really succeed at that. And by the time you hit 30 and you're still telling people about Donny Osmond records, so I wanted to get into talk radio, spoken word format, where there was no other reason that people would listen to radio but me. Not the music, not promotions, not contests, not giveaways. I wanted to find out if I could be the reason people would listen, because I always thought I could, but I was never given the opportunity to do it at various radio stations that I worked at. And it finally all came together for me in Sacramento, California. I actually replaced a guy that got fired, Morton Downey Jr., because he told a joke about an ethnic member of the city council out there and wouldn't apologize for it. So I got the job, and the best thing in the world that happened, I was doing 9 a.m. to noon. The radio station hired a new morning team. A couple of guys, Dave and Bob were their names. And in radio, prime time back then, it isn't anymore because of me. But back then, prime time was morning drive, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So they go and hire these Dave and Bob characters, and they promptly forgot about me. I was free to do whatever I wanted to do. Nobody was watching because they were focusing all their energy on the morning show. And with no supervision, with nobody telling me I can't do this, and my whole career had been, you can't say that, you can't do this. You've got to conform. I got fired once for using the word therefore too many times. Oh, I wish I had time for that story. I mean, I got reprimanded once.
And that's the reality, right? The censoring of speakers. And he was the right winger. And he was invited to the White House, and he got actual Presidential Medal of Honor. And he was accepted by the whole right side of, they accepted him, even though he had serious issues, right? Even though he had serious issues, nobody ever said that no one should listen to him. No one ever said that people shouldn't listen to him. They invited him in. So why can't we have a voice on the left of somebody that can speak for us and unify us? Why don't they allow that? Right? Why don't they allow that? That's my question. Why don't they allow that on the left? Right? They always find a way to attack and malign and say how bad Hasan Piker is. And it's not just Republicans. Democrats are attacking him just as hard, right? Right? Democrats are attacking him just as hard, making it seem as if he's a problem, right? Make it seem as he's a problem when obviously I don't think he's a problem, right? I don't think he's an issue, right? Right? I don't think Hasan Piker is the issue, right? Most of the issues are internal or within people, right? The problem is within people, right? It's something that is internal. It's within people to find a way to look at the defects of a person and try to disavow people because he's calling out the big money interests and the people that don't have the poor persons or poor people in their mindset, right? The people that actually care about the poor or care about the people that we should care about, right? So that's just a reality, I think. that's just a reality that we need to recognize that there's a lot of hypocrisy in politics. There's a lot of contradictions. We allow some people to get away with stuff, right? We allow Rush Limbaugh to get away with all types of things that he said about people, right? We allow him to say the things that he said without an issue, without a hitch. But a person like Hasan Piker says these things, and that's it. We got problems, right? We get upset, right? We get upset when because we want to acknowledge, right? When we want to acknowledge the hypocrisies that exist, right, in the world.
For calling a female co-anchor dear. Look, I've been at the forefront of so much of the left's poison in this country, and I've had to deal with it. I've been affected by it, and I've taken it on, and I've swatted it away. I got fired once for playing Under My Thumb by the Rolling Stones too many times. I mean, it's radio, but in Sacramento, all of that changed. And I finally got to do a radio show the way I wanted to do it, the things that I cared about, the things I thought people would listen to, and it was basically just sharing my passions. I love sharing my passions. I come up with things that are passionate, and I want everybody to know about it. I want everybody to experience it. I want everybody to agree, or at least think about it. But I also had this side of me that was featuring irreverent and sarcastic humor, and it succeeded, but it's something that's not found in the media much. To be credible when you're discussing issues seriously, forcefully.
So that's the issue, right? That he goes after the left. He goes after people in the future. He paved the way for a voice, and he vows against cancel culture and, you know, allowing people to speak their voice and speak their mind, right? And then as soon as somebody like Hasan Piker walks in the door and starts speaking his mind later on, many years later, they forget about this past and how controversial a person like this was, and they welcome him in, right? That's the hypocrisy of conservatism, right? That's the hypocrisy of conservatism. That conservatism only wants to apply rules to others, but they don't want to apply rules to themselves. That's the problem with conservatism. That's the problem with the ideology that was established by Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, Newsmax, and all these organizations that want the whole world to lean to a conservative values. They don't want the same value or the same standards to apply to them. They live lavish lifestyles. They believe in greed and becoming rich. And anyone that challenges those beliefs gets pummeled. And this is the forces that are attacking Hasan Piker now. That's why he's under attack all the time. That's why they're attacking him. This is the thinking.
And to also be credible when you're laughing and making jokes and being irreverent, it's a tough thing to do. And my radio show was really the only place nationally where that happened. I'll give you an example. If Ted Koppel during the Nightline days had come out and opened Nightline with a 10-minute joke monologue, you'd just, what the hell is this? I don't that's not why I'm watching this. In the same token, if Johnny Carson had come out and spent 10 minutes really seriously telling you about politics, not while you're there, you turn it off, make you nervous. I combine both, still do. And that's what leads to the unpredictability. And it manifests itself still today, but as the program has gotten
and that's the
longer, it's got older.
And that's Hasan Piker's style, right? That's his style. That's exactly his style. So you can't tell me that they're similar to each other. Everyone hit the like, hit the share button, hit the follow button. We need those numbers up right away, right away, right away. Ignore the naysayers. Ignore the people that say, oh no, we don't want to hear what he has to say. Ignore those naysayers and listen to me, right? Ignore the naysayers because they're always going to find a way to criticize, right? Criticize, attack, say crazy things, right? They're always going to find a way to say crazy things. And so then this is when he gets people pissed off, right? So this is when he does the outlandish stuff. I'm going to play a little bit of Hasan Piker, and then I'm going to interweave with Rush Limbaugh, right? I'm going to interweave the two so I can compare the two, if that's okay, right? If that's okay with you. The people, the most important people, the people's voice is important, right? Your voice is important.
Currently in a undisclosed car, heading to an undisclosed location. We got Abdullah Sayed of Summer Lee here, and their entire teams are here as well. We're heading to Michigan State University first, right? Michigan State first. We're gonna be doing some speeches. There's gonna be a rally. It's indoor or outdoor? Indoor.
Indoor.
Indoor, hopefully.
Thank God.
As is custom, I of course did not prepare a speech. So I apologize ahead of time, but it is my great honor to be standing alongside incredible candidates and incredible politicians like Abdullah Sayed and Summer Lee on this glorious, beautiful day in Michigan. Seems contrary to what a lot of my naysayers have been focused on for the past 3 weeks of Donald Trump's insane ramblings and bombing campaigns, this event has not been canceled at all. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because this morning, Donald Trump, the fascist tyrant himself, came out and said unbelievably violent things. He talked about genociding an entire population. And he was so callous and so careless with the words that he was using. But even worse, for the past 38 days now, he's also been unbelievably violent. And a lot of prominent Democrats spent the last 2 weeks, instead of developing the appropriate response to Donald Trump's mania, chose to repeat what corporate donors and foreign lobbyists and big donors had told themselves, including, but not limited to, Abdullah Sayed's opponents, Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens. And that's exactly what's wrong with politics in this day and age, and that's precisely the reason why all of you came in and wanted to hear responsive politics and responsive politicians speak for once. Politicians that put your interests above the interests of corporate donations. politicians that are bold, politicians that are fighters, that will represent your interests rather than the interests of faceless, lifeless corporations that pollute our waters, that consistently extract all of the value that you put out.
Is it a similar message from Rush Limbaugh? Is it a similar message, kind of? What do you think?
I've matured. I was in my early 30s when this program started, and I just celebrated 30 years back in August. So you get older, you become more mature. Hopefully you learn some things, you make mistakes and learn from them. But the thing that I found out, and even when I first started this and I was dead set on being the most listened to, there were two things that happened that taught me how serious it was. If you make a successful politician, a successful media person, has to make a connection with the audience. In fact, when I saw the first Trump rally, I knew that he was going to win the election. There was nobody in American politics, there still isn't, that has that connection with their voters or with their audience. When Trump came down the elevator, June 16th, 2015, everybody remembers what he said. Everybody's on TV, this is a joke, he can't possibly be serious. Mexican murderers and rapists, this is not somebody serious, he's just promoting a TV show. And I said, you wait. And then his campaign goes on, and the first polling data comes out, and Trump is way ahead, not in the lead, but he's way ahead of a whole lot of people, including Jeb. And people say, it can't be, this has got to be, there's something wrong. No. I said, you people don't understand. Are you watching this? Are you watching the connection Trump has with these people? His entire rally, it looks like it's improv, but it isn't. It's structured. It was perfectly presented. It had its sections, also had a teleprompter, sometimes using it, sometimes not. But at some point in every one of those rallies, it might have been for 30 seconds, it might have been for 2 minutes, but at some point in those rallies, he would thank people seriously and tell them what an honor it was for him that they were there. That's all it took.
So, see the connection? Being able to connect with your audience. Be able to connect with the people that you're speaking to makes a big difference in how successful a streamer is. Being able to see how successful a podcaster or a streamer like Hasan Piker, that's the connection.
A lot of these college campus stops that I do, people constantly ask me, Hasan, everything is so chaotic right now. How do you pay attention to what's going on? And how do you not feel so nihilistic? Especially because in the current duopoly that we have, one party is obviously representing tyranny. We know that, right? They're the fascist Republican Party. And the other party is supposed to be a counterbalance, a force against the awful politics, the repulsive, morally repugnant politics that Republicans represent. And yet the Democrats are out of touch. So how do you not feel nihilistic? And I tell them, you have to hold on to little positive changes that you make both in your life that will have reverberating outcomes that will lead to a sea change.
Making how-to videos used to take me hours. I'd record, mess up, start over.
Right, that's Hasan Piker. Right. Right, let's go back to Rush Limbaugh, right? Let's go back to Rush Limbaugh and his words. See how similar they are in their approach, in their media approach.
When the media Now, this is a very important point. When the media makes you, when you're nothing, 2 minutes. But at some point in those rallies, he would thank people seriously and tell them what an honor it was for him that they were there. That's all it took. That connection was made. That bond was built. The media did not make Donald Trump, and the media, despite their best efforts, cannot destroy him. When the media, now this is a very important point. When the media makes you, when you're nothing and the media comes along and starts giving you a bunch of buzz and PR and a bunch of hype, you are a prisoner to it, and you had better keep doing whatever it is they like, which nobody can do because the media loves to build people up and then chop them off and chop them down. They can't get rid of Donald Trump. The media can't, the Democrats can't. They've thrown one of the reasons why we have such partisanship. The Democrat Party has been able to get rid of every Republican they've wanted to, and it's been fairly easy. The Republicans end up quitting. One simple allegation. Oh no, don't say that about me, oh no. And they resign, they quit. Government shut down, everybody panics. Oh no, we can't do that. Not today. Like Kimberly told you, the House passed I think it's 5.8 billion. I just had a chance to scan it. No, and earlier today, it's another great example. All kinds of people after the meeting at the White House where the president told the Republicans, I'm not signing this unless there's border security in it. So they came out of the White House and said, well, the president's very serious about this border security, but we're not sure we're going to be able to get the votes. And a lot of Republicans have gone home. And I said, you guys, who are you kidding? Nobody's got the guts to vote against this now, not with President Trump leading the way, putting his career and his presidency on the line. So I'm not surprised that it passed. Now it goes over to the Senate where the turtle gets a chance to slow walk this thing. Well, that's my pet nickname for it. It's not, by the way, it's just because he looks like Jiminy Cricket. It's not because he's slow. It's just, but they don't want to pass it. This is the thing, folks, nobody.
So this is he always makes controversial statements, but it's okay, right? Back to Hasan Piker, and their styles are similar, right? The way they speak, the way they carry themselves, and you could tell why the media likes them, why their followers like them, right? You could tell why their followers like them, why their followers are willing to follow them, because
He could potentially be playing a formative role in electing someone like Zohran Mamdani in New York. Have you guys heard of that guy? The positive change in your life could be convincing one of your parents, one of your boomer parents that might have had a lifetime of propaganda incepted into their consciousness and have a totally ridiculous view about the relationship that we have with the state of Israel. Making that change, as many of you have, going out and protesting and demanding that change take place, has actually led to a sea change in attitude. And that's precisely the reason why, when a lot of people reach out to me over the course of the last 2 weeks and they said, hey man, I'm really sorry that this is happening. I hope, you get through it. I told them, fuck them.
Didn't Rush Limbaugh say something similar? Be unapologetic, he told Trump. Don't negotiate with Democrats. Stand up for Republican values and don't ever back down, right? He told them, don't move to the center. Don't ever move to the center. So now, the advice of places like Third Way, of Kamala Harris, and the DNC, mostly the DNC, was let's move to the center. Let's work out a deal, right? Let's work out a deal. Let's move to the center because that's the only way we could win elections, if we move to the center, right? That was the whole argument. Let's move to the center because that's the only way we can win, right? That's the only way we can win, right? By moving to the center, right? And so I believe the left has to be unapologetic, like the right is unapologetic, like Rush Limbaugh said. You just, stand up for the values. And like Hasan Piker said, F them, just move on and keep moving it. And just,
in that town
right?
wants a wall. Nobody wants border security. I mean, Trump does, and the Republican conservative caucus, and that's some people. But for the most part, the vast majority of that town doesn't want any part of this. The Democrats need a permanent underclass. They need a permanent voter base that cannot speak English and is not going to be taught, that cannot do anything other than menial labor. They need a never-ending parade of dependent people who can't get by without government or some other kind of assistance. The greatest success, the threat to the Democrat Party, is a mobile, an upwardly mobile middle class. And so the Republicans have their own reason for wanting open borders, and it has to do, the cheap labor and this kind of thing. But the point is,
most Christian men
right?
think ministry.
Controversial. Controversial enough for you? The things that he says? And he got away with a lot of stuff. And so he said, be unapologetic, right? Be unapologetic, he told them, right?
if you remember when the Kavanaugh hearings is a great example. Here comes Christine Ballsy Ford. You remember Dr. Ford? She's testifying there. I'm terrified. When did this supposedly happen? 30 years ago, and she's still scared to death something's going to come out of the wall and eat her alive. I'm so scared. And then he pushed me down.
And it's controversial.
We all know this is a crock. We all know it's a setup. Dianne Feinstein, who I'm sure Kimberly knows well, Dianne Feinstein set this whole thing up. What does Trump do? Trump says, I found her very compelling. And if we find out that there's anything to this, I'm going to have no problem getting rid of Kavanaugh. So I had people calling, oh my God, Russia's going to cave. Oh my God, it's like every other Republican. They build us up and they cave. Wait a minute, this is not what's happening at all. You've seen this. Let me remind this. I call this Trump pacing. So an issue like this happens, whatever it is, and the first statement the president makes is to demonstrate open-mindedness, no prejudice, a willingness to listen and comprehend and understand. But it didn't take, 5 minutes, and then he unloads on her at one of his rallies? It shouldn't have surprised anybody that his first statement, I found her compelling. It buys off the media for a while, and it forces them to acknowledge that Trump is not closed-minded about things and not acting in a prejudicial way.
So he's giving away Trump's strategy, the way he does things, right? And this is Hasan Piker just going back and forth comparing Hasan Piker to Rush Limbaugh. A lot of people will get upset about Rush Limbaugh. We comparing the two, right?
In the last 2.5 years, they smeared people like myself and people like yourselves and said that we were radical, said that we were wrong. And yet, we persevered and we understood the violence that was taking place. It was not that big of a sacrifice, especially in comparison to the sacrifice the Palestinian people had.
9/11
not shying away from controversy, not staying away from controversial topics, just speaking the way it is. And that's what people look for in a streamer like Hasan Piker, right? And also in Rush Limbaugh, that's what they saw.
And the
Unfiltered.
campaigns that started shortly after October 7 were obviously a lot more consequential, a lot more successful back then. But now I can easily say fuck them because I'm no longer alone. Neither are you. That's the powerful thing that you should hold close to your chest. And that's exactly the attitude. That's exactly the steadfastness that you can bring to every conversation, to every step that we take in the right direction. And sometimes it's going to be electing a fighter that will stand alongside you and represent your interests rather than the interests of corporations.
Exactly, right? So just stand up for what is right. And is that sort of like what Rush Limbaugh is saying?
He's got this down pat. He did this today with the wall business. Let's go back to when this current iteration of this began. There's this Oval Office meeting. Trump is in there, and Chuck and Nancy. Chuck and Nancy, you know, like the latest stars of reality TV, Chuck and Nancy. You know, I went to the George H.W. Bush funeral at the National Cathedral, and I happened to be, I used the restroom, so I'm in the back of the place. At the time, Pelosi and her husband walked in. Oh, it was everything I could do, and I did. Madam Speaker-elect, I'm Rush Limbaugh. And once those bug eyes pop out, didn't happen, but she was looking around, waiting to be noticed. Notice me. Stood about 35 or 40 seconds before trudging off and finding her seat. So anyway, here Chuck and Nancy, and the cameras are still there. In the Oval Office, Trump has not kicked the cameras out. And they're starting to talk about the wall and funding and so forth. And Nancy hears Trump say, look, I'm gonna build the wall, and if we don't get the wall built, I'm gonna shut down the government. And I'm gonna put my name to it, Chuck. I'll own it. I'm serious about it. And Nancy saying, oh, let's talk about this, Mr. President, after the cameras are gone. Because the Democrats, folks, cannot afford to be seen as who they are. The Democrats, the left, wear a constant mask. They're constantly camouflaged to deny people learning what they really are, what they really believe. There was a picture.
I don't know about that. Right? I don't know about that, right, Hasan Piker? Right? Let's hear what he has to say.
For the longest time, foreign policy has been consistently talked about as though it's something that doesn't have any impact on our lives. The only time we think about foreign policy and the endless wars that we engage in is if we have an immediate relative that comes back broken, in a state of disrepair, and the state actually doesn't even offer them the necessary health care, right? Health care that they promised that they would get. Foreign policy is directly related to domestic policy because every single dollar that is spent on a bomb that blows up a school overseas is a dollar that is stolen from you. All of our productive output, all of our that is supposed to be spent on your potholes, on your bridges, are spent blowing up bridges overseas. That is a real theft. And we say enough is enough.
he has the potential to be a Rupert Murdoch or better? Or is he going to be better than Rupert Murdoch?
Chuck of Chuck and Nancy was sitting there, and the president is talking to him. It's a still shot, talking to him very forcefully, and Chuck is sitting there and he's looking down at his lap. Do you remember this picture? He's looking down at his lap. You know what the caption of that picture is? What happened to my manhood? Look at that. So they walk out of there, and they think, what is the first thing they do? They go to the cameras and microphones outside the White House, and they start spinning their version of what happened. And they started talking about, the president really doesn't know about this. He's not that experienced. He's not sure what he's doing. We've got it handled. We're going to take care of it. And they think Trump is toast when the votes in the Senate and the votes in the House don't have any money for the wall. And when you hear wall, think border security, because it's what this really is. And there has to be some. We can't go on. We're going to lose America as founded if this is not fixed and solved. And Donald Trump is the only person willing to even try. We can't.
Were you recently injured in a car?
This was years ago. This wasn't recent, right? This is not recent. This is years ago.
Now, it is a real honor that I have to present to you the next speaker, Summer Lee, who best represents this fight. She's steadfast in her approach, she's uncompromising, and just like Abdul was withstanding a lot of attacks from AIPAC, she too has been attacked by AIPAC consistently, and yet she's overcome those attacks and has been an incredible representative. Thank you. Give it up for Summer Lee.
Yeah, so can you believe it? You think it's extreme? He's not an extremist. He's just a regular guy giving his political opinions. On top of that,
I said this introducing him in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, where thank God he is willing to put up with this. You know, there's not a single elected official in that town. There's not a single member of the FBI leadership. There isn't a single member at the Rod Rosenstein DOJ. There isn't a single person that could put up for half a day what Donald Trump gets in a week. They couldn't tolerate it. They'd be begging, suing for peace. They'd be crying. It's unfair. I've never seen anything like this. It's worse than what Richard Nixon got. And President Trump gets up every day, goes to work, and continues to implement this agenda. And I'm telling you, we need to be as grateful as we can, and he needs to know how grateful we are. Encouragement is so important. There's a guy in this audience tonight. His name is Byron Thomas. And Byron is who?
So I just want to illustrate the similarities of both. They are skyrocketing. So we need a voice in the left. We need somebody that's going to be unapologetic. Who's going to speak up. So I do encourage Hasan Piker to speak up, stand up for what is right, right? And so the biggest story right now is the fact that there's a ceasefire happening, a big ceasefire, and it seems like both sides are breaking it, but they're saying they need time to get it together and also to let the commanders on the ground know that they should stop shooting missiles at each other. And Israel went and attacked Hezbollah. They said it was part of the nuclear deal, or whatever they want to call it. the deal with Iran. It's not a nuclear deal because that still has to be worked out. But so this is what they claim. Trump goon gives Vatican bitter lecture amid growing rift. So Donald Trump threatened to wipe out a whole population. The Pope has been vocal about what Trump is doing. So now all we need is for the tension to come down, right? Because there's a lot of Catholics in this country, including myself. And we don't appreciate when Trump does things like this. Right? We definitely don't appreciate when Trump does things like this. Right? The Pope has been speaking out against the war, and Trump didn't appreciate it. They called the ambassador to okay. So this program is going to be short, but I want to leave it up to you for you to decide. Is Hasan Piker the voice of the left? Is he? Share, like, follow, and also write your comments below. It's very important you like it. Write your comments. What do you think? Don't worry about being controversial. It's fine. I can handle it. All right. So, everyone, thank you for joining me. It's 2 hours. I appreciate you for joining me. Many blessings. May God be with you, protect you all. And I hope the world doesn't act as crazy. It's not as crazy as it is. So I think they should listen to Hasan Piker, the Democrats. They should listen to his strategy and and listen to the way he wants to do things. So have a good day, and I'll see you later. Make sure you hit the follow, share button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and Substack. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and think about it. Who do you support? Either way, you're going to have to support somebody, right? You can't stay neutral forever. Yes? No? All right. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.